G'day everyone, DBE whipped llama. DBE is as I said in the last video, designed by Eric. Whipped llama, which is a red llama with a tone control, the one in the middle there. And I think there's a few other slight tweaks maybe with this one. We'll take a look at the build doc again. I think he has another how it works page in it, but let's have a look. So if you're looking for the DBE PCBs, I've created a separate section on the web store, DBE PCBs. So if you're looking for any of these DBE PCBs, that's where they are. As I said in the last video, we're doing these with another supplier, not OSH Park, because they're a little bit more expensive than some of the other PCB manufacturers out there. So we're for the sole purpose of actually providing these quite cheaply. So the whipped llama is $4.50 AUD, so that's about $3.50 USD, which is pretty damn cheap. There's not many pedals, not many effects that are actually that cheap that I know of. Probably a few out there, but yeah, it's very cheap. So whipped llama is the one that we're after, and I just wanted to have a look in the build doc because I just want to see if there's a how it works. I can't remember offhand if there's a how it works page. And also just want to talk to you about what Eric has written in the introduction, just so you know what it's about. I'm just refreshing my memory. There's actually a modification that I suggested Eric put with this one because I found it was very dark, like not under one blanket dark, like under a mattress dark. It was, it's quite muffled. So if you want to restore some treble, which is probably a good idea because you do have that tone control, so you want to have the most treble output you can get, and then use the tone control to darken it. There's no point starting off dark. I noticed on the schematic there was a 47K resistor in line on the output. Usually when I see those, I know that they contribute to the lack of top end on the output of a pedal. So if you see a resistor towards the end of the effect chain on the signal line, you'll find that if you remove it and just put a link across, you'll get more treble output. So I noticed mine was very dark, and I actually wasn't too much of a fan of it. So I said to Eric, "Look, what's that 47K resistor doing anyway?" And we just talked about it for a bit, and I came to the conclusion that we could just swap it for a link to sort of improve the tone response. So that's what I've done on mine. As you can see, there's a link on that resistor. You can see near the black capacitor at the back of the PCB there. That is to get rid of the 47K resistor. I just don't think it needs to be in there. So I think that's a very worthwhile modification. So when I'm using the tone control, you'll see when the tone control's on most treble, which I think is in that direction, that is that's the maximum treble that you can get out of the pedal. So if you leave the 47K resistor in there, it's going to be less than that. And it's already not a very trebly pedal to start off with, so I don't think it's worthwhile cutting it back even further. So that's my suggested mod. Eric's got some other ones in the build doc as well, so just take a read of that on the modifications page, which is page 2 of the build doc, I think. Page 3 of the build doc. Let me get you up off the floor there. Sorry, I had it the camera tilted up, and let me actually straighten it so it doesn't feel like you're on a boat. So that's a modification I definitely recommend doing. There's nothing complicated about this pedal build at all. It's very simple. Just link that 47K resistor if you want to do that mod, and then if you don't like it, you can put the 47K resistor in there and you can just muck around with it as you please. Use an unbuffered 4049. I seem to recall when I built my first red llama, there was a buffered 4049 as well. Don't use the buffered one, use the unbuffered. I don't think the buffered one works properly from memory. It's a hex inverter, so it's actually it's not meant to be used as an audio amplifier, but it has a very interesting effect when you actually use it as an audio amplifier. I think maybe the original designer of the circuit decided just to give it a crack and went, gee, that sounds different. So there's not really a lot to talk about. It's very simple. Goes into 1590B. Just be accurate with those drill the drill holes for the pots. Usually what I do with something like this is drill out everything else except for the pots, and then when you've got the completed PCB with the pots on the front, just place it down on top of the front there and line up where you want the holes to be for the pots, and then just get a grey lead and mark the center like that, and then drill in the spot that you want, and it gets you roughly where the drill holes need to be. I mean, that's freehand. This one didn't turn out too bad. Sometimes they turn out with a little bit of space. If you do stuff it up too, or it's not completely accurate or accurate enough, just drill it out an extra mil or two, because you've got the washer over the top and the nut, so you've got a little bit of room to play with. Not a ton, but a little bit. Oh yeah, and the graphics of course are from my son, who's put his name on the front there, James. He likes to paint the front of these enclosures, and like I said in the last video, it's one of the few things that you can get your children involved with. I think I might do something a bit more creative with them next time. Let them just like splat paint on, or not just with Posca pens, actually get messy with it. I reckon that would look pretty cool. And then of course, if you're doing the epoxy on the top coat, everything on the outside, you just wipe off, and then you'll just have that one face with their artwork on the top, and then you just epoxy over the top. Can you see the epoxy? Epoxy's great, I tell you. The new epoxy I'm using is actually a lot runnier than the last one I was using, so I've changed my method a little bit. It's actually a lot easier. The other stuff was quite thick for some strange reason. This is going on a lot. Maybe it was getting a bit old and it was sort of evaporating a little bit, but this stuff's working out to be much easier to use. You can put it on thinner as well. You don't have to have a massive thick coat. I mean, even when I say thin, you're still like a millimeter or two thick. It's pretty thick. So let's have a listen to it now. You're going to listen to it with the 47K. There's my son's drawing on the back. So you get them to sort of like, you get them to leave their mark on the pedal, and down the track you go, wow, he did that in 2018. Like when I'm 80 years old or something, I open up and go, wow, that's an old one. It's good memory to have. So yeah, we're gonna hear it now, as I was saying, without the 47K resistor. I'm not gonna put the 47K resistor in, as I said. It only gets darker from there, and I think it's dark enough as it is. I don't see any point in having that resistor in there personally. Not particularly with my setup. Maybe if you've got a really trebly amp, like I'm looking at my Fender Twin, which can get pretty crazy on the treble. But yeah, I just don't see the point of having it in there. It's up to you. Just socket it and then play around it, and then you can decide which one you want to go with. And Eric actually did a sound. Eric's actually done a sound clip of this pedal too. So let's listen to his first, because like I said in the last video, his setup is a lot different to mine. He's into metal. He plays a lot of metal. Blowfly just came in the room. He's into a lot of metal. So his sound is completely different to mine. I've got a Bad Cat, which is more of a rock setup, rock and roll, and same with the guitar being a Les Paul. So let's have a listen to his, and then we'll go to mine. So that's the whip Llama. I hope you got an idea of what it sounds like. It definitely pays to have a bit of time to play around with the dials, which I don't have at the moment. But it can sound really good too when you take you take the top off, so it is muffled, but then you crank it. I find you get kind of a bit of a rumble. So you've got to constantly adjust the volume on your amp when you're cutting treble back on a pedal. I find it's not a fair comparison just to listen to it at the same level, because when you cut the treble off, the volume's dropping, and generally when the volume drops, it doesn't sound as good. Everything sounds better louder, so you need to sort of compensate a bit with the volume on your amp or on the pedal, just to compensate for the drop in volume on the output. So I hope you liked that video, and I hope you like the effect. If you want one, of course, they're on the web store under the DBE PCBs. Leave a link below. Priced competitively. I've spoken about all that sort of stuff before. If you've built one, or you're going to build one, or whatever, leave a comment below. Interested to know what you think of it. I hope you liked the video, and next up we're going to be talking about it'll be another build report sound demo for the Siberian fuzz, which is a Big Muff inspired fuzz. So that will be next. Thanks for watching this one, and don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye for now.